Cindy and Mike hold family, friends, and service to others near to their hearts. Governor Cindy O'Neill, and I will speak to her desire to plant champion redwoods over the world. That's where I met Cindy, and I've been thankful ever since.
Thank you very much for that gracious introduction, David, so much. And thank you, President Tim, for hosting me at your club meeting today. It is certainly my pleasure. I want to have an open discussion in a few minutes, but first I wanted to share some personal thoughts about where I think we all are right now, about your club, about your community, and about Rotary. You just heard that I joined Rotary because I was invited to serve on volunteer projects. And frankly, that's why I stayed. But as I became, like you probably did, more familiar with Rotary, I began to realize the incredible power of the Rotary Foundation and its ability to leverage the good work we do in our communities and around the world. And even more, I realized how important our connections are, our joint connections to our communities together, our personal extensive skills that we have, and the friendship. And when you combine those three things, I believe we are incredibly important to our communities and to each other. But the reason I put my hat in the ring to be your district governor and stand before you virtually, who knew, right, is because I felt as though the perceived relevance of Rotary in our communities was not well understood, if at all. I believe that Rotary is relevant because we are worldwide, because we are connected as friends, and because we are a select group of very special people who hold long-held core values near and dear to our hearts. And those are leadership, integrity, commitment to diversity, equity, and inclusion, service to others, and friendship. In these historic times of COVID, and now social unrest in our communities, I believe it is Rotary that is perfectly suited to act in positive ways to benefit our communities. In fact, I like to call this our time. This is your time in your generation of membership in Rotary that you can affect positive change in your communities and raise the relevance of Rotary outside your club. You have, I think, a captive audience in your community if you so choose to go out and get it. 10 months ago, I asked President Tim, at the time President-elect Tim, to go out and interview 3 community leaders, use his connections and his friendships, and ask those community leaders, what is our community's most pressing need? We are Rotary. How can we help? And I asked him to write a 2.5-minute speech for presentation to other president-elects at Pre-Pets in February. What a great time we had, Tim. 59 presidents got up and gave their speeches. I ask you to have Tim give you that speech sometime if he hasn't done it yet. Put him on the spot and ask him to give that speech because it was a great one. It was a really great one. Thank you, Tim. But now I'm asking all of you to do the same thing. There's even more disparity out in our communities now as a result of the pandemic. So use your connections in healthcare, in education, in municipal government, and ask these 3 questions, or ask this question: what is our community's greatest need right now? We're Rotary. How can we help? Come back to your club, bring the ideas to the table, sit down, plan, keep it simple, and act. You could do service projects in a day. You could do serious service projects that that solve root causes of disparity right now in your community. But whatever you do, plan and act. Because when you ask your community, excuse me, and you also act, you show great compassionate leadership and you raise the relevance of Rotary in your community. Relevance is the key to keeping your members. Relevance is the key to growing the Rotary brand in your community. Relevance, I think, is also the key to creating a lasting legacy of Rotary in your community. The relevance of Rotary is the key to our future, and you can make it so through service. I wanted to honor someone right now who I think embodies this message of relevant service to our community. And I'd like to honor Carl King. Is he here?
Yes, he is.
Is that you right there? Hi, Carl.
Hi.
I would like to honor you with the Rotary Hero Award. I'm going to be sending you this cap to wear as you serve your community and expand that Rotary brand outside your club. And I'm giving you this Rotary Hero Award for your leadership in response to COVID-19 in support of local food bank. And for now, sustaining that work at the food bank. And also, especially also, for providing study space and internet connection for rural students who are in need of Wi-Fi for distance learning. That is so important right now, and I'm hearing from other clubs in rural communities that this is a desperate need. So thank you for your service, your very relevant service to your community. I'll be sending you this hat in the mail. Thank you so much. Can we have a round of applause for Carl King? Thanks, Carl.
Thank you. Given their record so far, I will retire my Red Sox hat gladly.
All right. Yeah, it's time. You wear this hat now.
Thank you.
You're welcome. You're so very welcome. President Tim, since there's so few of us, I mean, I'm not complaining. Since it's a nice, intimate group, I think it would be nice if we went around and introduced ourselves. Share your vocation and your position in the club.
Absolutely. Thank you. So everybody go ahead and unmute yourselves, and I'll start. And I think if you're in the same order I am, I'll start with introducing myself, and then we'll go to Sandra and then the Kings. So Tim Wilson, president. This is my second year in Rotary, and I am the superintendent for the Central Curry School District.
I'm Sandra Otter. I'm the most recent past president, and I think this is my third year, maybe fourth year between Sparks and Gold Beach Rotary, and I'm making a transition into California real estate for my profession.
Thank you. Denise and Carl.
Denise King, secretary, retired professional organizer, I should say secretary of the club. We've been in Gold Beach for 8 years now.
Carl
Awesome.
King. I am a recovering lawyer, as I like to say. I have been involved with Rotary first in Port Orford and now in Gold Beach for 6 years at least, I think. In addition to being involved with the club and doing a lot for the Rotary Foundation, encouraging donations and distributing points to award people their Paul Harris Fellowships, I am on the board of the Nasika Beach Ophir Water District, which is where we stand ready to give Tim space, if he needs it, for kids to get distance learning starting in September. I work with the...
Up here, they're putting their house on the market.
Sorry, I'm not muted right now.
Okay, go ahead, Mary. I mean, well, yeah.
Sorry, I'm in my office and I was just being talked to. Mary Stancil, I am a past president. I served 2 years as president of our Rotary Club. I served 3 years as assistant district governor. I am also the president of the Pistol River Friendship Club, and like Carl, our club building is at the ready if we need to open it up for distance learning for Pistol River kids. And I'm also on the Curry Health Foundation board and the Pistol River Concert Association board right now. And I think that's it.
Wow, thank you.
Cindy,
And a
can I
recap.
break in for a minute? Denise, Carl didn't mention, and I forgot to mention, that he started the Gold Beach Rotary Foundation doing
Ah.
business as Curry County Voices. So what Tim is recording this, and all these meetings go up on our website and on YouTube, Curry County Voices.
Curry County Voices.
Yes.
And one question about that. That's Rotary sponsored, or is that another organization?
It was, Curry County Voices is the Gold Beach Rotary Foundation that was established under the bylaws of the club, but independent of the club except for the board of directors. We did have a matching district grant to get us underway. And in addition to recording Rotary meetings, we record City Hall council meetings. We get MP4s from Tim to put school board meetings on. We have 4 pages of programs we've done with the Watershed Council, the libraries, and the like. And frankly, if you want to see what our last matching grant, the paving of the floor of a community greenhouse at the Raleigh Creek School, you can watch that. There's a program on it on our website, which is part of
Okay.
our attempt to get submission to get our final approval on that grant. Sign off.
Awesome. So what's the URL for your website?
Well, it's currycountyvoices.com. We'll get you there. Click on programs, and YouTube has a 4-page list going back to the beginning. This afternoon, we will have Monday's city council meeting up. And probably the most exciting stuff we're doing that you might be interested in is we are talking with the Curry Watershed Partnership of filming both their programs in the field with kids doing science stuff. And
Awesome.
also they're hopeful getting a grant to produce a monthly program to be used in the classroom or at home vis-a-vis the net on conservation issues. We're excited to hopefully be able to do both of that starting this fall, and really trigger an interest in conservation and the environment among the students of Gold Beach.
Sponsored by Rotary?
We'll probably, we'll talk to the Watershed Partnership as to how they want to acknowledge us, but they're treating us as a collaborator.
Oh, that's great.
Programs, and every so often we'll stick this program is sponsored by someone at the end of a program without necessarily telling them.
Sure. I just was wondering who instigated it. And
Well,
yeah.
it's most of the funds, the startup funds all came from Rotary or Rotary funding sources. And last year, both the Port Orford and the Gold Beach Club made donations towards our only expense today is insurance, which is not cheap.
Wow. Well, good for you for having insurance. Very important, actually.
Yes.
Very important.
Continue with the
Key to that
introduction
is
with,
anybody who's participating needs to sign and register that they're participating.
Mhm.
Yeah, we can talk more about that later. I think I want to come back to all your service projects, but Mary, were you done introducing yourself?
I keep muting myself because I'm sitting in my office. I guess the only thing I said is I work as a local realtor in Gold Beach, Brookings, the
Okay.
South Coast here. So I'm going to remute myself so everybody doesn't have to listen to me talk.
Okay, thank you. Brian,
Hi, I'm a past president. Make sure I get the right number of past in there. I was president for 2 years, way back when. Right now, I'm on the board of the hospital. I'm on the board of the regional workforce group here in this area. I'm on Oregon Community Foundation. Those are the biggies. And then lots of little
Wow.
things that I help out with periodically. So I'm retired. Before that, I basically turned companies around, and I'm trying to
Wow.
work in the community here and see if we can't revitalize the area.
Well, thank you for that.
And an astrophysicist.
Yes.
You can see his talk on black holes and the Big Bang on the CurryCountyVoices.com website.
Oh, how cool. I will check that out for sure. Thanks, Brian. Hey, Jerry, you want to introduce yourself?
Thanks. I'm Jerry Herbage. I live in Gold Beach, but we have a home up in Philomath, and I actually, for the last 4+ years, have been working in Newport. But with COVID, I've been back to Gold Beach, which has been nice and allowed me to do Rotary activities here instead of up there. By trade, I'm an attorney. I was an attorney for Curry County for 34 years. Most of that as the county's attorney, which made me, I think, the longest tenured county counsel in the state. Locally, I serve on the Curry Public Library Board. You just talked to Brian Grumman's wife. Sandy is also on the library board, and appreciate all the work she does. She does quite a bit of work on that. And Brian does a lot of work for the library, which he didn't mention. Anyway, I enjoy growing dahlias. I'm growing, I think, over 300 dahlias this year, probably about 100 varieties. And enjoy gardening and just being around the community. It's been nice to be in Gold Beach. And I appreciate actually being with the members here and having the chance to interact with them. And that's basically what I have to say. Thanks.
Thanks. There's one more person on the call, but I don't recognize their name.
Yeah, that's Becky Atherton. Becky, you're still with us? Becky is our treasurer extraordinaire, and she is the executive with the local Umpqua Bank branch. She has been in banking she just celebrated her 40th year, I believe in the same building, but with different names. But yes, so hopefully Becky will pop back in, but she's a very valuable member of our club.
She sent me a text and said that she was having trouble unmuting. Can you unmute her from your spot there?
I can. Thank you, Brian. Becky, I just introduced you, but do you want to reintroduce yourself, see if I missed anything?
She may have sound issues on her end.
Okay.
Well, Becky, I hope that gets resolved and you can join the conversation. So we just wanted to open this up, President Tim, to a conversation about service. I know it's early in the year, and I know we've heard about some great service already. I don't know who the spokesman is for service. Is it Carl? But I'd love to hear what your plans are for this year, or anything that you've been doing recently that you'd like to share.
You bet. So our lease related to our district grant, one of our key projects of the year, I believe with my platform, it's really going to be based a lot around education. And I've gotten a lot of support from the club because essentially anything we do in education, whether that's with schools or with the community, I think that's broad enough. But one of the projects that we've agreed to take on, supported by our district grant application, is the refurbishing of a play structure at the local community park. It's called the Kids Castle. It's probably been around for 20 plus years, and it's still in its original wooden condition. And so we're working with the city of Gold Beach to either paint it or varnish it or spruce it up a bit. Again, there's some limitations right now on park usage. The city right now has it closed because they don't have the staff to go in and clean it after every time a kid uses it. But we know that's going to be a good project for our members to do. It's very accessible, and but also something very timely, especially if kids are going to be back in distance learning and going to need some outside time. That's our key one at this point. We've had some traditional activities that we do when we get outside, primarily around highway cleanup. We have a section of the south bank of the Rogue River that we clean periodically throughout the year. We're also in partnership with Gold Beach Main Street in doing some weeding and some horticulture. That's the good thing about this club, Cindy, is that as in many small clubs, people are wearing many hats and belong to many organizations. So we see a lot of overlap. We have a major partnership with the Curry Health Foundation. One of our biggest fundraisers, unfortunately, was canceled due to COVID, but we're really looking at community health is a significant part of our group as well. Other members, can you help me remind us of what some of our service projects have been?
Well, I think we do, one of them is Party in the Park, and we put that on for the kids, and we have co-opted a lot of other nonprofits in the town to have booths for the kids, and normally we do that early July. We weren't able to do it this year because of COVID. Bike the Road, we just canceled that. We had that scheduled for early September, and we get people from all over the place. Any number of the states around us come to this event, and unfortunately we
What is that event, Brian?
Pardon me?
What is
Bike the
Invite?
Road? It's typically on the weekend after Labor Day, and we have a number of routes between, we have 25, 40, 60, and some years we've done 100-mile routes where we have kiosks along the route for refreshments and eats for the riders, and it's a money-raising event for the club, but it's also a goodwill event. The amount of money we raise in the town here, as far as people having to stay in or stay at hotels and restaurants, it's a substantial boon to the community too.
So it's a bike ride?
It's a bike ride.
Okay. All right. Just having trouble hearing exactly.
Oh, okay.
Well, this weekend we are going upriver to Agnes, that thriving metropolis, to help them do a triathlon that raises money for their fire district and their library district.
Great. Great partnership.
We've
One of
also,
our members, Carly Wright, is involved she's employed by the library now, but also very involved with after school and summer education projects for kids, and serves as president of the board of a Christian help organization that, when it's functioning, provides a secondhand store that is relied upon by many of our residents and many of our homeless residents for clothing, and it also has a food bank. And she's very active in things.
The other thing she was doing this summer is she was in a school bus on a not daily but multiple times per week basis, going out and distributing food to a lot of the kids that were in the after school program, but a lot of just kids. The bottom end of our community is one that suffered the most as far as unemployment. And some of those jobs are jobs that make it very difficult for them to claim unemployment because they're either day workers, or they have not had a good history of jobs, let's put it that way. It doesn't make them any less hungry, but it's made them not able to basically avail themselves of the programs that the governments, both state and federal, have had. So she's been very instrumental in some cases, the only food those families have gotten has been the food that she's delivered. So there's some severe
Who is
poverty
this
here.
person who is this person again that's doing this?
Carly.
Carly.
Carly?
Mhm. Carly Wright, Wright. She would look good in a
That's
hero
super.
hat as well.
Yes.
Well, if
She
you're gonna
would
do that,
look good in that
Carly,
hero hat, wouldn't she?
Yeah.
Carly is Karlie.
Thank you,
Okay.
Denise. Sandra,
And
you
she's
want?
on your member roster.
Yes.
Yes.
You know,
Sandra,
one
you
of the
wanted to add
things,
another activity as well.
I was just going to mention our annual High on Health event, which again this year was canceled due to COVID. It is in partnership with the Curry Health Foundation, and we raise money for community health related grants. And so, you know, one of the grants that we did last year was for an AED device at the the library right down the street from me. But last year, the event, our portion was over $19,000. So it is one of our largest fundraisers.
Say the amount again, Sandra.
Last year's event raised over $19,000 for our organization.
Wow. So I'm going to interject right here and let you know something that the district is doing to support clubs to raise money for your club, for the annual fund, or for polio. We're calling it Rotary Steps Together. It is a health-directed fundraiser in terms of you can get healthier by walking miles, biking miles, golfing miles, vacuuming miles, mowing the lawn miles. We have purchased a platform from Charity Footprints, and they're going to be running our fundraising background project for us. There will be 65 club teams, and every member, all of you, can participate by signing up on Charity Footprints on our website called Rotary Steps Together, which is coming soon. You create a profile of yourself, a photo if you like. You pledge to perhaps walk or ride a bike or play golf for so many miles. And then you take that pledge outside of your club, not to Rotarians, but outside of your club, perhaps through Facebook, and ask your friends and family to support you with a pledge of, let's say, 10 cents per mile or 25 cents per mile or $1 a mile. I plan to walk 100 miles in 8 weeks. The fundraiser will be from September 1 through October 31st. And our goal for the district is to raise $100,000 total. Maybe we'll raise more. You will, as a participant, if you sign up, be able to choose from 4 different categories of fundraising. Your club, the annual fund of the Rotary Foundation, polio, or all 3 divided by 3. So you could choose all of the above. Please divide my winnings by 3. So I really hope you will participate. I think that your connections in your community are perfect for this. I mean, you could even connect this to High on Health and raise money again by going out and walking, running, biking, swimming, golfing, and raise money. And I don't know if you would get to 19,000, but you never know. Clubs recently during the COVID disaster relief project that Governor Rick secured for us, some clubs turned $4,000 into $25,000 in a 1-week outward-facing request in a Facebook platform for fundraising. So there will be more information coming out about this. I'm sure I just you're scratching your heads. Any questions on how this is going to work? So watch for it. I think it was, well, it was in the e-news yesterday. So you can read about it there, and we'll have more information. So there are really great connections in your community, and you might want to contact the Curry Health Foundation, see if they might want to be a sponsor for this event. Or Brian, maybe OCF would help us sponsor this event to defray the cost of the platform. But it sounds like you have a lot of partners in the community that either might want to pledge some dollars for your footsteps and your miles, or partners that might want to sponsor the event and get their logo out there, because we're going to put it on everything: Facebook, our website, in the news, and so forth and so on. More to come. How's membership going?
Membership is fairly stagnant, I would say. We have, and again, just to summarize over the whole year, we had traditionally met at a Gold Beach Senior Center, and we've had some conversations that sometimes that unintentional relationship to think that only old people hang out there has maybe also kind of progressed into describing our club as a bunch of old people. So even pre-COVID, we were looking at maybe changing our location, and but right now I actually asked that question to our members back at my first meeting in July, is where do we see our club going as in membership? And I think we had some great conversations around the quality of a member, and why would someone want to be a member, not just of Rotary, but of our club? What are they bringing to the club versus just the idea of being a Rotarian? I think we needed to do, from my own observation, do maybe a better job of preparing new members for what the commitment is, not only financially, but service time, and to make sure that we've not necessarily weeded out, but people understand the commitments they're making. I think with David's emphasis as well at that meeting, we all recognize that the key to a healthy club is new membership. And so we haven't set any quotas yet, but I'm challenging our group to keep that in mind as we consider new members. Again, I hate to say the same thing again, but I think our current chapter, our current club, is representative of many organizations that our groups belong to, is that we have a handful of people that we see at every event. And whether you're at the Friends of the Library, it's the same people that you're going to see at Bike the Rogue, and the same people you're going to see at High on Health. So that's kind of where we are. Does anyone want to add any more thoughts about membership?
President Tim, I might add just a little bit about Jordan White. He's a sergeant in the Curry County Sheriff's Office. He asked me on the first inspection of his 26 cottages that he's building at the north end of Gold Beach. He asked me how to connect to the community, and I said, "Come with me. We're going to Rotary." And he stepped right up. He's a pilot from Montana, both rotary wing and fixed wing, and just a very, very interesting guy. I know that he has limited time, but he's also told me that part of that time he wants to devote to Rotary, to the community through Rotary.
Great example.
That sounds like a great member.
Mm-hmm.
That's great. Thank you, David. Thanks for that referral.
Yeah. So in the last year, I believe under Sandra's leadership, we added 5 new members. So if you will, that's a 20% increase. And in the last renewals, we did have a couple people who did decide not to renew, but they were also, I would say, people who were inactive for whatever reason. I shared with the group the numbers we heard at PETS, where internationally we gain 100,000 members every year, but we're losing 100,000 or more. And so it's a good time to really reflect upon ourselves locally, district-wide, or as an organization, and really redefine our commitment and what that looks like. And with those standards, then you will have people who will want to be a part of it.
Yeah, this is exactly what RI President Hilger Kanak emphasized at PETS and in his address to Rotary, is that we need to be very careful how we qualify our new members and bring in quality members and thoroughly explain what Rotary is about. We don't want to exclude people. We want to be inclusive, but we want to share what we do and how we do it and what Rotary is to make sure they're clear. And then he thinks that if we do that kind of qualifying together, we'll have longer lasting members stay in our clubs. But you can also talk to your current membership and say and ask, what would make this club the perfect club to be in? And as we go back, as we go forward, I guess I should say, to the new Rotary, as the pandemic lifts off of us someday soon, you might want to reimagine your membership menu. Some clubs are starting to offer different types of memberships, like I just want to go to your service projects and attend a couple of Zoom meetings a month because I'm a busy professional with teenage kids and I have so many activities to go to. So offering a menu of membership levels and costs and participation might make you more diverse and more inclusive of other kinds of folks in your community that can't come to a weekly lunch, for instance. Attendance is no longer a requirement of Rotary International, but it is a way to keep your club engaged.
Cindy, may I ask you a question?
Yeah.
When you first, started speaking today, you mentioned diversity, inclusion, ethnicity. We have had a brief discussion about that on our board because it's something that Carl and I are very much, it's very important to us. And the general consensus from our board was that we did not want to introduce these ideas for discussion because we would lose members. How are other clubs dealing with this?
I'm not sure exactly how other clubs are dealing with this discussion. Every club is unique. Every club has a different culture, so to speak, a reflection somewhat in their communities and their history. We will be having an open forum discussion about diversity, equity, and inclusion on August 20th in the evening, hosted by District Governor nominee Amy Walsh. And I invite you to attend and hear what folks are saying, because Denise, I can't answer that question reliably. I don't know what all of our Rotary members are thinking, and I'm looking forward to hearing about how our Rotary members are feeling about the social injustice and the protests and the riots and all the press around this issue right now. And so there's the political aspects, but there's also Rotary's vision and mission for equity, diversity, and inclusion. We are very serious about being inclusive.
Governor,
Yes.
Amy Walsh was on the Zoom call with Metro Eugene last night, and the speaker was a professor on the anthropological and cultural differences of so-called race. It was fascinating, program put on by Heather Edwards. who is just doing an amazing job with her programs. And the sum difference between races is 0. It was a fascinating program last night.
Awesome. We're all getting more educated and aware of what the topics are surrounding this issue. Denise, I'm sorry, I have not answered your question, except to say that Rotary takes equity, diversity, and inclusion very seriously.
Well, thank you. I didn't expect you to know really what all the clubs were doing.
Thanks for bringing it up. A lot of people don't bring it up. So thanks, Denise.
I guess my worry is that the time that I'm spending on with the workforce board, I'm getting a lot of information about not just unemployment, but about changing people's habits. People not going out to eat anymore, people changing their recreational activities. I have a very significant worry, and I'm not trying to be a negative person here, but that when this finally clears, I think there's going to be many fewer members in Rotary. And it's to a certain extent, Rotary is habit. It's part of my life. It's part of my culture. When that culture changes, if we're not proactive, I'm really worried about the habits will change in a way that will be negative to Rotary. And we probably need to do something as a club proactively to make sure that we're not only inclusive, but we're anticipating the fact that the culture and society is changing. And we're going to have to re-earn a place in that, I'm afraid, because people will forget.
An interesting thought, Brian.
You know, Brian, I really agree with you. That's why I encourage you all to stay connected to the people that are leaders in your community and keep asking that question. What do we need now? Because that keeps us relevant, I believe. If we continue to solve problems that are suddenly much more important than the problems from yesteryear, people will say, wow, I want to join Rotary. I want to give back, because they're doing service and raising money for things that are of relevance to my community right now, not things that we were doing 10 years ago. That'll bring in, I believe, the right members. But we can also ask people to join, like Jordan, the person that David Bassett just brought forward. They're dying to join. I had to ask to be invited.
There used to be an organization in Grants Pass called Welcome Wagon, who went to every new family moving into the community. It no longer exists, but Rotary can fill that bill for new people moving in, looking for how to connect, looking for what to do to join in and to give back. And I find it really easy to recruit members in the construction field. And I know, Cindy, that's something that you do too, because they're positive, they're doing things, there's money available, and they want to get involved.
Yeah, that's an interesting idea too. Well, keep inviting people to your club, and invite people to try on Rotary through service. That would be my advice.
Right.
So I'm open to any questions that you may have. I'm not saying I have all the answers, but I'd love to answer any questions you might have about the district, Rotary, your clubs, anything.
Do you know where the grants committee is on the second round of matching grants?
Yes, I do. We spent all of our district dedicated funds that were available for district grants, with the exception of $1,900 and change. And I just signed the block grant to RI to get the funds into the district to distribute to the clubs.
So both of the applications that Gold Beach put in will be funded when they're completed.
Yeah,
And
they
Kathy, and Kathy's done, so I can now pester Kathy about closing out last year's grant.
Well, I think she's going to pester you right back to get your report in.
Well,
unless you've already done it.
I sent the report. I'm waiting for a review of it before I ask how
Yeah,
we sign
I think
it.
she's been a bit overwhelmed with
Yes,
the
I
volume.
assumed that, and I was back, just waiting to hear that the other stuff is done.
Yes, it's
and
done.
then I'll
Yeah.
get back on top of it.
Yeah. Any other questions? That was a good one. Past District Governor Rick, you got anything you'd like to share with the club? Any thoughts on what's going on? I know you're still very involved.
No, I love the discussion that went on today and the openness. When it comes to membership, just a little thing there, we're actually putting together a resource team that's going to be twofold. One's going to be trying to develop new clubs, and then the other half of the group is working on how to work with clubs as they identify specific things. One of the things we are noticing that might be unique, I don't know if down there you have Kiwanis or some of the other clubs that are out there that do good work, but we're seeing in some of the smaller communities, those clubs folding just for what, Brian and others brought up, that there isn't a reason or I'm losing connection because I'm not there. So we're going to try and do some outreach in those communities by sharing the stories that Rotary can do, in hopes that by sharing what Rotary can do for community service, it will, one, draw your members back to your clubs, and second of all, it'll draw those in the community. Because while we're seeing people challenged by COVID and being at home, the number one thing we're hearing, and I'm involved in other boards, is people want connection and they're missing that connection. And if Rotary would say, hey, we have a community service project that you could go out here and it'll be outdoors and socially distanced, we can gain new people to come to those projects. People are just starving to get out of their homes, but need a reason to get out of their homes and understand they're going in a safe environment. So membership is a huge thing. A guy named Lee Eckroth's an assistant governor coming out of the Corvallis area. But his goal this year, he's fired up. He wants to start 10 new clubs. And it sounds like a huge number, but it's not if we start looking at all these communities that are got people trapped at home for the reasons I just said. The work we're doing is great. Cindy is an incredible leader and has got some incredible ideas that she's bringing forward. This virtual fundraiser will be great. One, it'll get people to participate, but second of all, it'll demonstrate to clubs that they can do a similar type project, that you're not your traditional one where you had to be there for an auction, and that doesn't have to be the challenge that keeps your club from moving ahead, because you're going to have to be creative and change the course of what you do. But Rotary's got an awful lot. And I personally believe we will grow Rotary this year because people are having to deal with COVID. But never give a past district governor the microphone.
Thanks, Rick. Rick and I love working together, and the entire district leadership team tries to make sure that the things we bring forward every year continue into the next year, so it's not a reinvention every year. I wanted to mention one more thing. It just went out of my head. What was that? Oh, when I was in Cave Junction 2 days ago, I went through the small town of O'Brien, just south of Cave Junction, and they are, I could tell, in need of help for the homeless. Cave Junction looked like it was in need for help for the homeless. This was a topic that came up at pre-pets among many president-elects. And I thought, well, what if the Rotary Club of Cave Junction formed a satellite club of some folks that are civic-minded in O'Brien? Because I stayed at a winery in a beautiful cabin with a gorgeous tree house where we had a board meeting and talked to Debbie, the owner. Debbie says, oh, I'm too busy. I can't be a Rotarian, da, 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 da. But what if they had a satellite club attached to Cave Junction, and she led the satellite club in O'Brien at her convenience? And the minimum size for a satellite club is 8 members. I bet there's 8 civic-minded people in O'Brien that would like to have the benefit of the fundraisers and the structure and the direction from the Cave Junction Rotary Club, which is a very strong club, small and mighty like yours. I heard you say something about a little town called Agnes. I know you have small rural areas all around Gold Beach that you're probably serving in multiple ways. is there a satellite out there somewhere that you could add to your club and bring in another 8 members, civic-minded, around a cause, something they really need? Think about that.
Good idea.
Well, since I grew up in Wonder, I know O'Brien and Selma and Kirby and Cave Junction and Sailor's Diggings and Waldo and all those places really well. It's a really interesting concept. I'll visit with my lifetime neighbor, Jim Polk, and see what we can do.
Good, good.
Well, Cindy, I want to again personally thank you and Rick for taking time to meet with us. You have a very ambitious schedule to meet with everyone. When I saw that at Pets, I'm thinking, boy, what a road show. But then unfortunately, it's in the virtual world now. But I know with your visit to Port Orford last week, the South Coast is a lovely place to visit. And we hope that sometime when your health is good and we're able to be out in the open again, that you're always welcome to attend our meetings. And I always look forward to working with you and the rest of the group to make this a great year for Rotary.
Thank you, President Tim.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
You know, I'm traveling to see service projects right now, so long as they're outdoors and we can socially distance. Because as you might have noticed, my emphasis is on service this year,
Mhm.
as it should be every year. We're Rotary. We're service above self. But if in the spring you have an outdoor service project that's going great guns and you'd like to invite the governor, I'll try my very best to be there. November doesn't have to be the end of all my Zoom visits and my visits in general. I would be happy to come back to the coast, to beautiful Gold Beach, and work on a project together. We're doing some podcasts right now, interviewing Rotary heroes and why they do the service that they do. And we're going to be posting them under a section on our website called Volunteer Connect. So it's under construction. It's another new useful thing that we're trying to put forward on our district website. But you'll be hearing more about that. And please invite me if at some later time you have an outdoor project that we can all socially distance. I would love to meet all of your great members in person.
Great. Thank you very much. Again, the members that are here today, and Mary had to take off, but just a reminder that Saturday, as Carl mentioned earlier, many of you have signed up for the Rogue River Triathlon. I think Brian and I are going to be up there at dark 30 to get things going. And then we do have a board meeting scheduled for next Tuesday. I'll be sending a notice out for that. And then next week, on Wednesday, our meeting will be back at Buffington Park. And Morgan Graves is going to give her new member address to us. So look forward to seeing Rotarians a lot in the next week. So with that, thanks again to everyone. Have a pleasant rest of your day and week, and we'll see you on the next time.
Thank you,
Bye.
Tim.
Thank you. Thank you,
All right.
Cindy.
Thank you.
Thank you. You guys are awesome. Take care.
All right.
Be well.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye.